we'll get into some other stuff here just in a second, but just while we're talking about the Flames, like you say, Gaudreau comes in, Gaudreau, Monahan, Bennett, the core,
Kachuk,
all gone.
Yeah.
I guess just when you look back, what are your thoughts on this window of Flames history?
Yeah, disappointing because they thought Gaudreau was done, like that he's coming back. And then we all know the story. I'm not going to rehash it all, but I think Kachuk was probably destined to move on by his choice. But my feeling is after the year they had together with Lindholm, if Gaudreau resigns, I think Kachuk's very tempted to stay.
I agree.
Like, you put up that many points. They were the best line in the league. It's tough to walk away from. And then who knows how the trajectory changes, right? But you have to adapt as a sports franchise. And I think Craig Conroy is doing a very good job, much the same way I was talking about how the Hawks have put themselves in a good position with lots of picks and draft capital and cap space. The Flames are kind of doing the same thing. It's the way you have to do it. And that's just the spot that they're in right now. It's just too bad the way it happened. And, I wonder if Johnny Gaudreau really, now that he's had a couple of years to think about it,
serum.
He's kicking himself.
You're really not that close to home for a guy that wanted to be close to home.
Well, if you shoot him full of sodium pentothal and ask him, I think he'd probably deep down would rather be back here.
And it feels like a lot of little things in a way. If the Sam Bennett that you watched today, if he could have evolved a little bit sooner, if Sean Monahan didn't have the string of injuries and was closer to the guy that even now is playing, if Gaudreau can just any of those start to kind of fall into place, then maybe the whole thing is different.
Well, if Gaudreau and Kachuk stay and those guys keep producing, Daryl's probably still coaching. I mean, who knows? He has a shelf life. I think he'd be the first guy to admit that, so maybe not. But the team's in a different spot altogether. Does Hanifin does he resign? He was close anyway.
Yeah.
You keep Hanifin.
He's not leaving that line.
He's staying. Now he might wind up getting the money that he wanted because he's probably putting up a lot more points. But the whole complexion of the franchise changes. But it's okay. It happens. You have to. You just have, like I said, you have to be adaptable. It's one of the most important characteristics for anybody to have. And they're in a position now where they have to reset and look ahead. The Sam Bennett thing is interesting. I hear a lot of people talk about it. So he talked about all the coaches. Right. He played for 5 different coaches. It wasn't like somebody didn't like him and he got buried.
Yeah.
He had lots of chances. I'm not picking on Sam. He's playing great. He was always good in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was.
Because a lot of the stuff that he would do that would send him to the sin bin in the regular season, he gets away with in the playoffs. So I think in a weird way, it helps him when they don't call as much. So, I mean, obviously if he was the Sam Bennett he is now, they would have never traded him, but it was 5 coaches in a long time and it just wasn't, for whatever reason, working. And sometimes guys need to change the scenery. So
it was a big change of scenery thing. I remember we talked about it day after day after day. You're like, what do you do? Like, he's literally played his way down to the 4th line. And I honestly believe Sam Bennett didn't really buy into becoming the blue collar, hard-nosed player he is today until he got away from the pressure of being the highest pick in the franchise history, slated to be this number 1 center, number 1 in central scouting. I feel like the moment he left Calgary, all those expectations didn't have to come with him to Florida.
Yeah.
He could just be a really hard-nosed checking center.
Yeah, that's a good theory.
Like no one here would have been happy at draft podium if you're like, he might get to 20 goals twice in his career. In Florida, that's perfect. That's perfect for them.
They don't care.
No, because they gave up 2 seconds in Emil Heineman.
100%. There's probably some truth to that in terms of pressure being off. I mean, I'm not in his, only he knows for sure. Guys also mature at different rates, or mature just in terms of their hockey ability. And maybe he just figured out, well, I got to be this. And maybe for the reasons you mentioned. The guy I think about, I was talking with somebody about this recently who had a connection with the Dallas Stars, Vern Fiddler. Now, Sam's a better player than Vern, but Vern, I covered him when he played junior hockey in Kelowna. Average junior hockey player. Like, if you would have asked me to name 10 guys on the Rockets that year who were going to have a notable NHL career, he wouldn't have made the list. And yet got in, went to the ECHL, started to figure, okay, this is what I have to do to stick around, got to the AHL. I don't think he ever got drafted. I think he was an undrafted guy and ultimately wound up playing, 12, 13 years in the league just because he figured it out. And maybe Sam Bennett's one of those guys, even though he was a high draft pick, who finally figured out this is what I got to do to be an effective player at this level.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long-form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.com. Appreciate you watching.